that goes back to ugly content. Anybody can just make a graphic commercial video or like a really cute video that would land on maybe like a TV screen. But the fact that we're taking real users, real customers, and making them kind of like the spokesperson of this brand, it's again like authentic, it's organic, and it feels real.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Marketing Conversations with Lamp House Films, the show where we bring you direct access to tips and insights from today's marketing thought leaders. I'm your host, Josh Henry. Lamp House is a production company that creates film-centered marketing campaigns. Our passion, both in our commercials and on the show, is to help companies create marketing that is honest, beautiful, and effective. Today on the show, we're talking to marketing innovator and entrepreneur Donye Taylor. A self-taught creative with an ear on the ground, we talk with Donye about the rise of ugly content and its role in grabbing today's skeptical and busy consumer. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe and click the link below to get our free bonus content. If you've been enjoying the show, we would love to hear from you, so leave us a review. It takes 20 seconds and helps other people find the show and hear from these amazing marketers. Leave your Instagram handle in that review so we can send you a gift as a thank you. Now, let's jump into our conversation with Donye. The one thing that I feel like I've heard you talk about and I've seen it's like some samples of your work, something that you call ugly content. We call it like lo-fi content. Like it's so counterintuitive, but so effective. Talk to me a little bit about how you like landed at that. I feel like that's kind of a gutsy play.
Yeah, so ugly content, and so it was a while ago when I kind of dabbled into consumer psychology. And I was thinking like, how is it that people think as it relates to product and brands? And I started seeing this trend where the ugly content would perform better. Like, and I don't think this kind of goes into it, but doesn't. But I don't think Lil Uzi gets enough credit. But Uzi really brought back the Instagram photo carousels. And like Lil Uzi, he's a rapper, but he kind of like when everybody was doing the super high quality photos on Instagram and just posting maybe like one or two, he was doing like the iPhone zoomed in gritty photos, and it would just be 10 photos of what the fuck. But people would love it because all those 10 photos felt like Uzi. It wasn't like what everybody else was doing. It was just really unique to him. And I started seeing that like trickle down. And now we have these things called photo dumps. But Uzi was doing that like 2.5 years ago with his Instagram. You know what I mean? And now it's just getting to this point where people want to feel the real you. Stuff that's really polished doesn't really feel real. You know what I mean? Like imagine if you see a girl that's caked up in makeup. It's like, yeah, she's pretty, but I would probably be way more attracted to her if I just saw her in maybe like a white tee, leggings, top bun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a Sunday morning at the grocery store. Like that's a different feeling. And we try to take that feeling and put it into content. So yes, it's really easy to make, you know, like super polished content, these super polished graphics, but everybody's doing that. People want to see that kind of like surface level content that makes them feel more connected to that brand. So we like to put that into a lot of like the content that we make for brands. Mind you, we do a lot of the polished stuff too, because who doesn't want to look like they have their stuff together? But when we kind of use ugly content to show the brand's personality, we kind of look at the ugly content as a way to show the brand that's like the girl on Sunday morning going to the grocery store. And you're like, dang, who's that? She look good. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the idea behind ugly content. And it also performs better. People want to share and engage with the content that is just so raw. Like that's why like I feel like sometimes just like the quote from Twitter, you paste that on Instagram. If the quote is nice, that is going to perform. You know what I mean? Because people want to share that information. It's so straight and to the point. It doesn't have to be a long thought out piece of content. It's just right in your face.
Yeah. And I've been thinking about this a lot because I I'm noticing this trend too, a little bit later, admittedly. And we make pretty content, and so it's one of those things that I almost like don't even want to admit that I know is real. So
Yeah.
that's my question. What I'm sort of trying to sort through right now is there is a place for glammed up content. Like you said, you guys create some, and there is a place for
Mhm.
ugly content. And so
Mhm.
how do you differentiate? Like, how do you know when it's time to go forward with which thing?
I think that ugly content mixed with culturally relevant content is the perfect
Mm,
blend.
mm,
So if there's something going on, so for instance, let's talk about, okay, so one of my clients, Culture Tags, Ad Age is named them one of the hottest brands of 2021, which is dope because
that
we
is.
worked on their account for like the
Yeah,
past
it's
year and a
really
half.
great, by
But
the way. It's really good work. I
yeah,
love the stuff you guys are doing for them.
so their whole game is based on acronyms and spelling
Hmm.
out these acronyms. So when the all that stuff was going on with the girl that won the spelling bee, I had did some research and I found out that she was from Louisiana. And it's this artist named Webby. He has this song where he's spelling out the word independence. I'm like, wow, like the two greatest like spellers of our generation is from Louisiana. And then I spelt out independent and then I put like, do you know what that means in the acronym? Because that was a part of the song. That post went nuts because it was taking what was going
Hmm.
on right now in the world, tying it into something that has culture tied into it, which is this like really popular song within the hip hop community and making it relevant to what's going on right now and the game for the audience. It's
Hmm.
like it's so many different layers, and it's like we had so many different posts that we have scheduled that we just pushed back because it's like, okay, this evergreen content, this can wait. We want
Yeah.
to focus on the stuff that's going on right now. That is the stuff that we make ugly because it's just right now. You know what I mean? Like
Because if you're trying to like beautify it, then it's too late. Like by the
it's
time the
too
campaign's
late.
out, who cares?
Exactly. So
Hmm.
that's another thing. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to spend too much time on something that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And I think that we're seeing with, social media, everything is about right now. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about what you post, it's about when you post it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I can do that post that I just mentioned a week from now and it's not going to hit the same because it's no longer relevant.
Yeah.
So if you work in social, you kind of gotta have your ear to the streets to like listen to see what's going on, what's popular, and think about how you can tie your brand into that in a organic way. I
Yeah.
remember when Bernie had that
Oh,
photo
with him with the
with
like.
sitting.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
sitting, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Everybody is trying to do this now, but sometimes you have to just take a step back and be like, is this? I
Is
know
this
everybody's
us?
doing it, but is this for me? Is this us? So also determining what is us. But
Yeah.
going back to your point, I think ugly content
Mm-hmm.
mixed with culturally relevant content is a match made in heaven.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. I remember. I don't know why. It was a cute picture, that Bernie picture, but I don't know. It's hard to predict what things are going to go crazy. And I remember just being
Yeah,
like, seeing some people posting it where it's like, I don't think you get the joke. Like,
you're just
you're
doing it
doing
because
it
you
because
see
you saw
everybody
other
else
people do
doing it.
it.
But you know what? You can feel that. You can
Mm-hmm.
see it. You can feel it on the opposite end. And that's what I'm saying. Like consumers are smarter now. Like
Yeah.
we can see the difference between somebody that's doing this trend because they're cool and they know versus
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's like, we should do this because everybody else is doing it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I also think that there's something to be said about there are some cultural moments that it feels like as a brand we need to be talking about this right now. Like COVID is like a weird long example where it's like there were moments where it's like we need to be talking about this, but then you pretty it up too much and it's like, okay, you're playing me
yeah,
now. Like I don't want to be
yeah,
advertised to about this. Like I just
yes,
want to see something that's real. And so I wonder if
yes,
ugly content is a way to sort of advertise without it really feeling like advertising.
yeah. And it's not even just how it looks. It can be how it could be the tone too. Like somebody saying these are 4 ways that you're not going to get COVID, versus saying like, these are 4 ways that can prevent you from contracting the virus known as COVID-19. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
thing, but the tone makes
Yeah.
it more direct. It makes it more quote unquote ugly.
Mm-hmm.
So I also want to talk about that too. Like, we'll touch on that. Like, ugly isn't just how it looks, it's how it feels. And maybe ugly isn't the right word, but I just say ugly because it just, you see pretty content and the opposite of pretty.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. It
So,
piques the
but yeah,
interest at least. Let's talk about culture tags a little bit and how it played in, because that's a campaign where I feel like you guys did a mix. You had some really pretty stuff and
yeah,
you had some really like simple ugly stuff. So
yeah,
how did that play in? I noticed that you guys did a lot of what at least felt like home videos of people playing the game. Were
yes.
those home videos? Were those people you guys pulled together? Like, tell me a little bit about that. A little bit about that campaign.
So when we first got the account, the brand was still in like this Kickstarter phase. So they were
Mm.
still raising money. The games hadn't even came out yet. So first we was like, okay, like, how can people want to buy this game? People want to buy games that they know are fun. How do you know if a game is fun? If you see somebody having fun, or if you yourself are having fun, or if you get to experience it a little bit. So we made this Instagram filter that was synonymous with the game. It was like
Mm.
the tag would pop up with the hint. So we tested that, and then we was like, you know what? Can you send me? I asked the founder. I was like, can you send me a game? And I'm gonna play with my friends, and I'm gonna record the gameplay with my friends.
Mm.
So, and like, people just love doing what they see everybody else doing. So for weeks, until the game started being sent out to customers, we were taking videos and of us actually playing the game and posting them on social.
Mm.
We were also very intentional with the parts of the video that we posted. Like, we wanted to get the
Yeah,
moments. Like,
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
wanted to get that energy. We wanted to get that feeling, because we knew that that's how people want to buy stuff. Like, if you see somebody having fun, you're gonna be like, dang, like, I want to have that type of fun, or I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we started out like that. We started running some ads on that. So my agency doesn't run ads. Unique has her own, and Unique is the founder. She has her own internal like paid advertiser. So we
You
were
guys
just
are just
giving
content
her,
creation and then
we were just
great.
content creation, ideation, strategy, all of that.
Okay, cool.
So we were sending these videos. They're running the ads concurrently while now people can buy the game. So now everybody's like, oh my gosh, like, I want to play this game. I want to play this game. I want to play this game. So now something that just started off as us just playing the game turned into now like this trend that people want to hop on. So now when customers get the game, they want to do the same thing that we did. They want to record their friends and
Mm.
family
Yeah.
playing the game and tag us. So now almost all of the ads that we run are user generated content ads.
Hmm.
So we keep track of who sends us videos, so that when we do run the ad, they're getting compensated. But that is kind of like our marketing strategy. And again, that goes back to ugly content. Anybody can just make a graphic commercial video, or like a really cute video that would land on maybe like a TV screen. But the fact that we're taking real users, real customers, and making them kind of like the spokesperson of this
Hmm.
brand, it's again like authentic, it's organic, it feels real.
So I've heard of this strategy before, but usually it's centered around like key influencers or something who has a
Mhm.
large reach.
Mhm.
Was that a part of this here, or was it like literally anybody who has a funny moment, send it to us and we're going to post it?
So, the founder, Unique, her network is pretty impressive. We kind of started out in the beginning doing like these culture tag game nights where we would have people on live with her basically playing the game. But again, it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to send you this game. Can you post it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a
Like
little more organic than that.
to date, we have not paid anybody for any influencer marketing.
Huh.
Everything has just been strictly organic. And what makes because the game is kind of based on Black culture and a little bit of nostalgia, a lot of the content that is of like the older crowd, somebody that you can look at and be like, wow, she reminds me of my grandmother, or she reminds me of my mom. That is the content that performs better because, again, it's tying into that emotional side and that nostalgic side.
Interesting.
Versus an influencer may not have that type of emotional power. You know what I mean? They're just going to see it and be like, okay, like this person has a lot of followers. They're playing the game. They're having fun. But when you see families playing with it, it makes you, it reminds you like, wow, like it makes you feel good. Like, wow, like I would love to play this with my friends. I would love to play this with my family because, again, it has nothing to do with the influencer or the person. It's about the energy that you're feeling and how it makes you reminisce or want to be with your family. And, you know, like during a pandemic, that's times 3 because we're all alone. So that togetherness vibe, it hits 10 times harder.
Yeah. And I did notice, now that you mention it, that so many of the clips, the person who was like, whose turn it was a mom. And that it's interesting that, like, if you go out to influencers, like, that's not the demographic that you're grabbing.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's smart. So how do you make it work? Like, for people who, like me, are seeing, okay, ugly content is having its moment, I need to maybe get on top of this. What are some tips to do it effectively?
I would look at your brand as a person. Really look at your brand, not as a brand, but as a person, and think about what you would quote unquote wear. It's sometimes you see people and you can just tell like, wow, like that is their style. It's not on trend, but it feels real to them. So if you look at your brand as a person and then you kind of correlate your social content, kind of like what you would wear or your style, then it makes it easier for you to figure out, okay, like this is me or this is not me. I'm pretty sure like you go into the mall or you go shopping and you look at stuff and you say, oh, like that's a nice shirt, but I don't think that shirt is for me.
Yeah.
That is how you want to approach ugly content. You don't want to do anything that is not your style because people can sense. People who know you or know your brand will know if something is not your style. So going back to the whole style correlation and the metaphor, think about ugly content as like your super chill outfit. Like nobody's going to judge you for being chill, but they're still going to know like, okay, that person has that little bit of swag or like their DNA still infiltrated in what it is that they're doing. That's how I would do it. And don't just go out and say, oh, I want to make ugly content. It should be natural. It should be natural and it shouldn't be forced.
So almost like if you're, you know, when we're on set, there are moments where it's like, oh, this is such a great moment. I wish that we could like just film this moment, but we don't have a behind the scenes person here. It's like, oh, just film it.
Yeah.
That's the moment because that's you casual. That's you dressed down.
Yes.
And then when you have your photographer out and you're glammed up, great. Like that's its own thing too. That's you going out for like dinner. But
yeah, and like don't try to force those moments. Like if you are looking nice and you do have a photographer, it's fine to take a picture, but don't try to make that ugly because then it's like, okay.
Now we can really feel it. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Marketing Conversations with Lamp House Films. Lamp House is a production company that creates film-centered marketing campaigns. If you want to chat with us about your next campaign or just want to hear more about what we do here, there's a link in the description where you can set up a meeting. I would love to chat with you. Just a reminder to click the other link below to access our totally free bonus content. If you're on YouTube, make sure to click that subscribe button. And if you're listening on a podcasting platform, don't forget about that review. It goes a long way. Marketing Conversations is a production of Lamp House Films, produced by Lauren Zayer and Malia Irby. I'm your host, Josh Henry. Until next time, stay inspired and let's keep the conversation going.